And we are back. Welcome back, folks. This is False Flag Nation. This is your host, Prometheus. With me, as always, is my co-host, William Revere. Can you hear me, Will?
Yes, I can. How's everybody doing tonight?
I certainly hope you're doing okay. If you're listening to this, I would take that as a fairly good sign. As of right now, at the time of this recording, it is 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States. And what's today's date, Will?
It's September 23rd, 2015. There's been a lot of hype about this date
That's
throughout the
right.
past couple months. And you know what? We're still alive right now. And who knows what's going to happen? There's still a few more hours. So we
Anything
can't
could
say it's a
anything could
total
happen in the next
peak.
3 hours and 10 minutes. We don't know. But you are right. There's been a lot of talk about various like political, ecological, and theological, most of all, events that are supposed to happen in September.
That's right.
I forgot economic events too, but specifically around this date, September 23rd, 2015. So there's a video going around that has like 27 major events that are supposed to happen on this date.
Right.
It's got over 1 million views, I think. It's hard to even really know where to start. So, Will, this is kind of your field of expertise. You have the academic background in religion and whatnot. So, start us off here. What's the best way to look at this?
All right. So
What's going on? Are we gonna die?
I don't think so. I think that obviously this is, first of all, there's a lot happening in September of each year to begin with. There's two major Jewish holidays. There's Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which Yom Kippur is today, the Day of
Right.
Atonement for the Jews.
And what goes on Yom Kippur specifically? Like what's
There's
the significance of that?
there's fasting during the day, and many Hasidic Jews and Orthodox Jews, if they can, they travel to some body of water, and it's supposed to be symbolic of God washing away sins and whatnot.
They bathe in it. They swim in it.
I guess you could, or there's an effort made to try and go towards a body of water.
Okay.
I'm not a true expert on Judaism in any respect, but I do
Uh,
know that those are some of the practices that
that
they do.
that would explain all those people in my pool this morning. A couple bagels floating on the surface. There, seagulls picking at it. That was a
Yeah, but
problem.
I'm sure there weren't any coins in the bottom of the pool.
Oh!
In any event, so we got those two major Jewish holidays. You've also have September 21st is the beginning of the pilgrimage to Mecca for Muslims. This is also very important for them. It's supposed to be something that they do at least once in their lifetime, and wealthy Muslims are supposed to go or try to go at least once a year. But this is one of the pillars of Islam. It's one of the principles of their religion
And
that you're supposed to go see Mecca.
did that start today or
The 21st.
the 21st?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me? Am I echoing on your side?
Nope, no, you're
Okay.
good. You're coming in good.
It sounded a little weird for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have
So-
these two major holidays. We have the Hajj beginning a couple days ago and in full force right now. We have Yom Kippur today. Is there any other things tying into religion that are supposed to happen today?
Okay. Not specifically to, there's not anything crazy that's going to happen today, obviously, other than Yom Kippur that we know it is today. But interestingly enough, we have the first papal visit to the United States in quite some time.
That's
And
right.
he is meeting with, Pope Francis is meeting with Barack Obama today. He's actually in D.C. He arrived, I think it was like 10:30 this morning. And why this is significant is for many reasons. he's not only meeting Barack Obama, but he's also meeting the U.S. Congress, which
Yeah, he's supposed to speak in front of there tomorrow morning, like the 24th, I think, right?
exactly, yeah. So why is this significant? Well, there's a lot of Roman Catholics in Congress, believe it or not. Obviously, Barack Obama is a Muslim, so he does not the Pope or Christianities. But
Wow.
Boehner is Roman Catholic.
Yeah,
Um,
I just saw on the news. I caught a tail end of the coverage of the mass he gave in D.C. And Boehner apparently invited him to speak to Congress.
really?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what he was thinking doing that because, like you said, he is a practicing Catholic. But this Pope has developed kind of a reputation for being more for being political, not shying away from
Right.
political issues, and having kind of a leftward slant. So what I don't know if he knew that when he invited him. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, obviously, the this Pope has been in the spotlight for his views on social justice and uh, outright calling capitalism evil. Um, so that could not really uh, go over too well in U.S. Congress. But if Boehner and some of the other Roman Catholics in Congress that are Republicans are trying to tap into the Pope as far as aligning themselves with him in a pro-life aspect, it's probably a good move. I mean, are you going to sit there and debate with the Pope over abortion rights and whatnot?
Boehner already said he's not going to do that.
Yeah,
Or about immigration as well.
right. Immigrate. Uh,
That he did. There is one congressman who is boycotting. I can't remember the guy's name or what state he's from, but I just saw this on TV. He's boycotting the speech because he thinks he's going to talk about the Pope is going to talk about climate change. He's like, this is based on false science. I will have no part of this. He is using this as an opportunity to grandstand and push a political agenda. And
well, it's interesting that he said that.
Yeah.
Because some of the other controversy that has been going throughout the internet and the news is that the Pope is also, and this is true, he's going to be addressing the UN while he's in New York City. So the discussion of the climate as well as the global economy and the refugee crisis in Syria, as well as a bunch of other hot topics, are obviously going to be discussed.
Yeah.
And this is all part of and will be drawn into the Agenda 2030, which is supposed to kick off and involve the Pope. So
is this like an actual document, like Agenda 21?
Yes, yes. Now, there's not too much specifics on it. This is just floating around the internet, and obviously you take things with a grain of salt.
As far as things floating on the internet, first search result when you type in Agenda 2030 is a article on InfoWars.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, linked back from the Sleuth Journal. That's the original source.
Of course.
But this seems to go into a fair amount of detail about what it's all about. It's new international economic order.
Right. What does that sound like? New World Order stuff, doesn't it?
Well, sure.
It sounds like NWO, Illuminati, Vatican-controlled banking systems. This is all the stuff we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I mean, we talk about the NWO and that stuff. I mean, come on, get with the program. Everyone knows that. But what is unique about this discussion is the fact that the Pope is involved
Yeah,
in the church,
absolutely.
and that's not something people normally think about the church taking a stand on. It's like how the world economy is set up, or even climate change. I mean, that papal encyclical he gave back in, or published rather, back in June, I think. And I can't remember what it's called, but that was like the most overtly political um, encyclical or that has ever been given by the Vatican. I think they're rare to begin with, but this was
Right.
like everyone was kind of taken aback by this.
Well, that's kind of been this Pope's MO. Like he's very political, like you said before. He's very outspoken, and he's
Yeah.
very different from all the popes in the past.
Well, that's I think that was part of the reason that I read an interview that's why he chose the name Francis, because there's the story about Saint Francis of Assisi had the vision of like I think it was Jesus telling him to clean up his church, and he said that he chose that name for that reason, that he was going to clean up the church and it wouldn't be business as usual
Right.
there. And as he's been, yeah, he's certainly lived up to that. I think everyone can agree.
Yeah, I mean, the, the Pope has had open conversations with homosexuals. There's been at least discussions about women in the priesthood. He didn't make any sort of opinions on that, but
I don't
I don't.
honestly. I don't think that's going to change.
No, I don't. But the point is that this Pope is completely different from any Pope in the past,
Now,
even more so than Pope John Paul II.
yeah. Now, do you? There's a fair amount of people in the conspiracy sphere talking about how this Pope is, he's the fulfillment of the prophecy of the Pope. He's the final Pope, and some of them say he's
The false prophet.
the false prophet. You know, our old friend Stephen Quayle has been
Yep.
talking about how he is the false prophet from the Book of Revelation, who's going to be like the kind of the hype man, the smaller wrestler who enters in with the bigger wrestler
Right. This
into
is
the
the
ring,
right
who's
man,
the
the Antichrist.
the Antichrist. Whether that's he seems pretty convinced it's Barack Obama that's the Antichrist,
Look,
but
there's a
I
pretty good
don't
case for that. There's a
I
pretty good case for that.
just sure, but I just I don't know. There's what's it just seems like there's so much stuff like coming together
Right.
right now, and that's what's unusual. When these like apocalyptic predictions start popping up on the internet, usually there's a bunch of hype, and then it comes and nothing happens, and then everyone like rolls their eyes, and then it's like every 18 months or something. There's another one. There's the 2012, yeah,
Right.
uh, apocalypse, obviously, which didn't happen. There was some. Do you remember that old guy in his 90s that was saying the world was going to end in like May of 2011?
Yeah, and then he
And
just
then,
kind of fell off the face of the earth.
yeah, well, I mean, I think I'm pretty sure he croaked like 2 months later. But
Yes.
uh, what makes this one stand out, and why should we think about it more differently, or why are so many people already treating it differently?
Well, I think for a couple of the reasons we stated already. I mean, the Pope and the Vatican's involvement in this is something that separates all the other conspiracy theories
Yeah,
of the past. Like, this is huge. Like, you know, the Vatican is probably one of the most powerful organizations in the world.
yeah,
It's pretty much untouchable by any countries. It's been allowed to be this little sovereign entity inside of Italy's borders,
yeah,
and God knows there's no visibility in their bank accounts. They can pretty much and have been proven to be money laundering over the years, and there's a ton of different reasons why the Vatican is just clouded in mystery, and it's because it's been kept such a secret. So anytime you have the leader of the Catholic Church who is shrouded in secrecy, and he has this kind of public image uh, that people think of the Pope as this caring leader of the Roman Catholic Church, and he's visiting all the children. He loves Mother Teresa, blah 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 blah. But he's also an incredibly powerful businessman, and that's what people don't understand. There's
So
literally trillions of dollars going through the Vatican each year. And what are they doing with this money?
so
How are they
is this
accumulating it?
is this well? I mean, is this like money that was collected in the Middle Ages from selling indulgences or whatever? Like I'm sure like you said, there isn't much transparency. God knows how much money there is, or how long it's been
Right.
there accumulating, or how it all works. I mean, they could, they might have their own banks,
Yeah,
because they are a sovereign country. So,
yeah,
or they might have accounts in Switzerland.
right. But
That's where the bodyguards come from. Why not?
I guess what I'm hinting at is, for all intents and purposes, the Roman Catholic Church is it is the first group of Christians. It goes, if you believe in Roman Catholicism and Christianity, uh, if you can follow the popes back, and it brings you directly to Jesus and his disciples.
Yeah, I think
So
Saint Peter was the first
right,
pope, right? Yeah.
right, and it's interesting to see that there's been so much activity with the Pope and the Vatican, and he's being involved in politics and everything that's happening in September of 2015. So anytime you have the Pope, the leader of over a billion Roman Catholics in the world, uh, addressing the UN and addressing the US and the US Congress, there's going to be, and rightfully so, a lot of controversy and a lot of attention.
So you think something big's going to happen on
Definitely.
tomorrow? Or no,
Definitely.
no, no, no. I think it's Friday morning. He addresses the UN because tomorrow he's talking to Congress.
The Congress tomorrow. Yeah.
But so this is like
This is the
I'm
beginning.
yeah, I'm predicting that he's gonna there's gonna be some environmental stuff in there,
Right.
which I think everyone will agree on, and there could be a push for some sort of initiative regarding the environment. But
Yeah.
there could also be talk about like a new international monetary system, maybe a new world reserve currency
Yes.
or something like that.
And it'll be discussed in the filter of fairness and equality amongst nations, and the they'll talk a lot about the corruption of Wall Street and the corruption of banking systems and whatnot, and how it keeps certain classes of people down. This is going to be
So,
talked about, and it's going to seem like a good idea. This is
so it'll be framed like as an act, or like through the lens of like charity and
absolutely
not necessarily socialism, but like more equitable distribution of wealth.
yes.
Okay.
There'll be lots of calling for the wealthy elite to take care of the lower classes and to do their duty as Roman Catholics and as good people of the world. And it's going to be a lot of common sense stuff that most people would agree with.
Yeah.
But there's going to be those hidden messages, like you said, of a one world currency.
Which is the stepping stone for a one world government.
Exactly. Because if you have one currency, there are no borders.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about with the European Union. That started out as a share, like a free trade zone.
Exactly.
And then it was a shared economy, like shared currency. And then the next thing you know, it's this supranational entity that controls the internal policies of all its member states, and it can impose fines on them and do everything. Uh, it's like we said. It's the European Union is basically the beta test for how they want the elites to run the whole world. So this is like it seems like what you're saying is he's the globalist Illuminati's pope. Yeah, if they were to pick a pope, he'd be the perfect guy for them.
Yes.
Whether he's part of it or he's just like a tool they're using.
Yeah, and if you look back to the Book of Revelations, the Book of Daniel, all the end times texts that are available in the Christian Bible, you see that in the end times there's the false prophet who is most people believe will be a pope figure or high Roman Catholic figure, is calling for unity amongst nations, and they're in the Book of Daniel and Revelations. They said that there's going to be a time of brief peace before the actual apocalypse. So there's going to be a time for nations coming together, and who knows, maybe this will be through the one world currency, one world government. There'll be maybe a span of 6 months to a year of actual peace, no warfare.
I was going to say there's not much peace happening right now. I mean, there's like multiple wars going on right now. We have ISIS, we have Ukraine. There's wars in the Congo and South Sudan that have been ongoing. I mean, that's par for the course that the media ignores stuff like that. I mean, but that's been going on for a long time. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. But how does this potpourri, as it were, tie into all the other events that are supposed to be happening in September?
Okay. Interestingly enough, which I wanted to touch on too. There's a high-level, ultra-Orthodox Jewish leader. Okay, his name is Chaim Chavinsky. I believe that's how he say his first name, Chaim. Now, he's well respected in the ultra Orthodox world, and he is saying that the Jewish Messiah will be arriving at some point in September of this year into October, November-ish. So that interestingly corresponds with the events that we've been talking about too.
Really?
Yeah. So, a call for ultra-Orthodox Jews to maybe view the Pope as the new Messiah or something. I don't know. This is just another one of those things that we don't know the answers to, but it's odd that this guy, this leader of the Jewish world, is saying this stuff about the September time period. And this time period is heavily involving the Roman Catholic leadership. So that's another interesting point. A second point is, and I think this is a little bit ridiculous, but who knows? Supposedly, okay, not supposedly, but this is Pope Francis is the 266th Pope, okay?
Yeah.
And today is the 266th day of the year. Now, 266 days is about 9 months, and that's supposedly the time on average that a baby is growing inside of a woman.
It's considered full term.
Exactly. So
it's kind of like a new order is about to be birthed.
Exactly.
Basically. Wow.
Exactly. This is the coming and the birth of the of something new, something, the birth of a new alliance, the birth of a new chapter in the world, or the birth of the new world order as we know it.
Whoa.
Yeah, so this is
This is some pretty heavy shit here. This is
another, yeah, another one
this.
of those things that
Yeah, it's like you're saying. It's just a convergence point for so many of these things, like in across all three major religions, and all this like political stuff. There's this tying of uh, what you normally think of as like a religious imperatives being fused with political initiatives and stuff. It's sort of a blurring of the theocratic and political estates, and it's that's not something I saw coming. Everything it seemed like everything was moving more and more further to the left, and things were becoming more and more secular. And now you have this pope all of a sudden that people on the left are enamored with, and the church is kind of really reasserting itself into people's lives. People like pay attention to what the Pope says now, and then, like they're willing. Yeah, I hear people just talking that like are not Catholics that are just like, yeah, I like this guy, and I agree with what he says. I think he has a lot of positive message. People are receptive to it. Do
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? That's like, and that's not something I think you saw before. Like
Well,
even with John Paul, I mean, he was around for a long time. I think he was popular because of his anti-communist stance. But like in terms of social issues, he didn't have this kind of receptivity.
right. And I think, like you said, that's one of the major reasons why he's so he's so likable by people.
Yeah.
And I think that's a conscious effort that the church made when the reptilian shapeshifters in the bottom of the Vatican voted to have Pope Francis become the new pope.
Yeah. This is
And
this is actually our guest interviewee for the second segment of this show is going to be Malachi Martin's ghost. We're going to be communicating with him through a Ouija board, and I'm just going to be reading out loud what he says.
look, it is interesting though that the Roman Catholic Church all of a sudden decides to elect a very liberal pope in this time of crisis. Obviously, they're trying to maintain their uh, power, and because most Catholics and most people in the world view the Vatican and view Roman Catholicism as kind of old and out of date. So I think this is part of their rejuvenation process to transform the church into becoming more relatable.
Well, unlike what the Republican Party is doing now, the sort of shifting to the left to make people more receptive to them, it seems to be working.
Right.
The Republican Party, I don't know if you've seen the so-called conservative movement on Twitter that are mocking them for like kowtowing to the Democrats. There's like
No,
the Mike Huckabee profile. It's a fusion of the word cuckold with conservative. But God, I mean, we could almost do a whole show about that. That's it's pretty hilarious. But this has been amazing. I think we're going to take a brief break, and then in part two, we're going to talk about more of the not so much theological, but just as important stuff like the Large Hadron Collider, what's going on with CERN,
yeah.
possibly apocalyptic shit going on in Switzerland and other parts of the world. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to be right back.